Hello and welcome back to the PFP Fantasy Football Show, Game Week 3. I'm joined again by Sean Windsor. Sean, how are you getting on?
Rafe, I'm keeping well. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, man. I was actually quite optimistic about Game Week 2 as it got underway. I was the first one in our league and in our private league as well to break the 100-point barrier, so I was absolutely over the moon until the Sunday, I think it was, when Spurs kicked on and really racked up a lot of points and you popped up out of nowhere from behind me. I can imagine it was a game week that you were quite happy with, were you?
Yeah, I was pretty lucky. Across the 2 days I had some of the players who were contributing to the 44-goal record weekend.
Do you want to take us through your team there very quickly from last week?
So yeah, a couple of zeros, starting at the back, McCarthy and Lewis. But I had Calvert-Lewin's hat-trick on Saturday, early kick-off. I was actually watching that as well. I think you were on the other end of WhatsApp talking to me about it. And then, as you mentioned, Spurs, so Son, I had him. Wasn't lucky enough to have Kane as well. And then, they made up the bulk of the points, and then you can see Alexander-Arnold chipped in as well. Following on from the 68 points I got on the weekend, I was a little bit concerned about not having a Man City player after I watched them on Monday Night Football. Kevin De Bruyne, focal point of the team. I knew I wanted him in. I had money saved in case I was going to have to rearrange my team around, but I think Arsenal's fixtures that we did touch on last week, it just made sense. Aubameyang out, De Bruyne in. I also had a little bit of a rush of blood last night and made a second change that I wasn't 100% planning. I wasn't overly impressed by Newcastle, and St. Maximin and Lewis both had yellow flags. And looking at Wolves' fixtures coming up, decided to take out St. Maximin and bring in Pons. So he's not even guaranteed. I think I would have preferred Traore, but I've possibly rushed the gun because he was playing right wing back. But they've today officially announced Semedo, so it'll be interesting to see if he starts. But I've gone with Pons. He's only 5.5 mil. I think he was the best out of between him and Neto, so I'm hoping he can do something against West Ham this weekend.
And you're keeping the faith with the back four?
Yes, so Cody off the bench. Can't do any worse than Lewis and McCarthy, who had 0 points last week. Oh well, unless it's John Egan, who had minus. But hopefully a couple of clean sheets there, I would think. Cody, maybe, Davies if he keeps his spot. I know they've signed Madrid left back Willian or Rulian, don't know how to pronounce that, but hopefully he keeps his spot.
Regulian, I think it is.
Rulian. So I'm hoping Davies can keep his spot for at least another week. But that would be one area I'd be a little concerned, Davies and McCarthy going forward, now that I've made these changes in the attacking positions.
Actually, I think it's Reguilon. Reguilon.
The new Spurs left. So why don't you show us how you got on and what you have planned for this week?
Yeah, Grant. So you mentioned John Egan there in the last one. You said thankfully you didn't have him. I was one of the unfortunate ones that did. Obviously 12 minutes of action and a -2. I scored 59 points in the end. Like I said, I was quite happy with how we got started. Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold, 7 points. Aubameyang as captain got me only 10, but the front three were really firing for me. I don't know how Richarlison didn't score, never mind score a hat-trick. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin got the goals, but I think everything Everton did went through Richarlison, so I am still excited about him. I think I am going to keep the faith with him. Mitrovic, obviously making amends for game week 1 where he was left out. And Danny Ings was firing as well with 2 goals. So obviously the front three doing the business for me there and kind of getting me out of jail. I suppose the biggest annoyance, the biggest gripe that I had looking at my bench here was obviously Pereira for West Brom. I wrote him off the week before. I said he was no good and I was thinking about taking him off. And as you can see here as well, Martinez racked up a load of points with a clean sheet and a penalty save. So it was a week for my bench, and they both got strong cases to come into the starting lineup for next week. And I'll give you a look at how that's going to shape up. So as I said there, strong cases for the goalkeeper to come in. They've obviously got Fulham in their next game, Aston Villa, which is favourable to Leicester's trip to Manchester City. I've also drafted in Pereira again to replace the suspended John Egan. What a great time to be alive. You might see there the one transfer that I have made, similar to yourself, Sean, is Kevin De Bruyne has come in for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Like you mentioned last week, De Bruyne has already started to go up in price. As you can see here, he's up to 11.6 already, from 11.5 in just game week after he registered 13 points. Like you said, he's bulletproof when it comes to fixtures, so he's staying in the side now for the considerable future. I do have Traore, and I suppose the biggest question I was asking myself was if I was prepared to invest in a second Wolves player, be that Raul Jimenez up front, but given the week that the front three had and the values that they're worth, he's worth essentially the same as Ings, and slightly more than Richarlison. So, given what I've said about those front three, I don't think I could warrant bringing him in just yet. Connor Cody and Saiss were the options in defence. If I was going to make a second transfer, it would be to take like you said, we do have an especially nice run of fixtures coming up there. As you can see, West Ham, Fulham in their next two.
And then I guess Liverpool-Arsenal, that's always a goal fest. So I know we both have Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's kind of the only defender from either team I'd want there because he's good for attacking returns. But going forward, we saw it this week. Salah got it in game week 1. Mane, he scores 2 in game week 2. It's interesting how they can always split out points.
They do love taking returns, don't they?
Yeah, I think Salah generally is the better pick at home, and Mane seems to always, rule of thumb is he generally does better away from home. Any fixtures that you're looking at that you might have been tempted into a second transfer to get someone in?
No, I think you've touched on them there. I suppose that the biggest thing that we could take from game week 2 is that Manchester United are actually kind of rubbish. For all the talk before the season, I don't think anyone's going to be falling over themselves trying to bring in Manchester United attackers. I know that Bruno Fernandes is going to take penalties when they get them, but no, he didn't make a single key pass in the last game or register any chances created. So, I mean, from an attacking point of view, Manchester United were way behind against Crystal Palace, who I think have probably set the mould now for teams playing against Manchester United, just to revert back to that sit deep, and just most importantly, don't kick them in the box, because if you don't give them penalties, they don't look like they're going to score.
Yeah, I think there'd be a few Man U fans who might have a few counterpoints for you on that one. I would just put the asterisks on that, because they didn't have a pre-season, whereas Crystal Palace did. They played Aston Villa and then they jumped into a game of well-organised Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace. They also scored 3 goals last night, and Mason Greenwood, only 7.5 million as a midfielder, got a goal and an assist in a 15-minute appearance. Now, they were playing lower league teams in the Carabao Cup, but...
Yeah, I'm rolling my eyes heavily here off camera.
Yeah, he'd be the first one I'm looking at, though, for Man U at this point. I was saving money in case Fernandes was an option. I think there's a possible risk he's playing a little bit deeper, because Donny van de Beek came on and seems to take up a more further attacking midfield role. Just one to watch in the weeks coming up. The Brighton game would be a great test for them.
Okay, guys, well, look, that's been the show for this week anyway. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Give a like on the video, share it around if possible. Subscribe to us on our socials. We're on all the main platforms. Subscribe to us on all our socials, and don't forget to join the league. We're going to put the league code down below in the subscription. Be sure to give it a click, and